You are now listening to the Tapped In Podcast with Bailey Scott. Oh my gosh, guys, this is my first video podcast. I'm just so happy that I was able to figure this out, okay? Because I was a little confused. I couldn't understand the science behind video podcasts, and now I kind of get a little glimmer, and I'm so excited. Got my coffee. Yes, I'm just so excited I was able to figure this out. So excited that I'm able to just chill with you guys. We can relax together. Just really glad that I was able to figure this out so we can cuddle together. We can get intimate. Or if you're listening to this while you're driving, that's cool too. Just make sure to listen to the audio. And yeah, so just wanted to get that out there. Super excited about my first video podcast. Love this. Love her. Yeah, so today's podcast is it's going to be very vulnerable. It's going to be a lot of my episodes are pretty vulnerable, but today's going to be pretty vulnerable in a sense of I'm definitely going to be opening up to you guys about sexuality and, addiction in certain areas of life. So if any of this kind of topic is triggering for you, I would definitely suggest to maybe not listen to it. But if you are sensitive to the topic, I would say to keep listening, because I feel like that this is very much a taboo topic, like a lot of my topics are. And it is very easy to want to kind of just like click off and act like that sex doesn't exist. But it does, and sexuality exists, and it's important to talk about it so that we can teach our children in the future and children of the present to be able to accept themselves and be okay with the fact that they aren't going to look cookie cutter perfect, and that there are going to be things that they enjoy that others won't, and vice versa. So I think that it is important topics to discuss. So yes, today's episode I'm going to be discussing that. I am in a season of celibacy, and this is intentional celibacy. I have tried to go celibate twice. The first time was last year in March, and then I met someone, and then I tried to go celibate again in August of last year, and then that also didn't work out very well. There's nothing wrong with, I guess, having intercourse. There's nothing wrong with having sex whenever you want to and whenever you feel it's right with the right person, and maybe you just feel like that all the feelings are right, all the vibes are right, and everything's just gonna kind of be as it's meant to, because a lot of the time, every time I would have sex, it would be because it felt right in the heart. But in this season I'm in, I'm no longer going to be falling into the continuous loop that is sex, because I feel that I'm not a victim. I have fallen short in watching porn. Just come flat out and say it. And I've also just fallen short on my word, me saying I'm going to be celibate for like a year. I just want to see what it does to me. I want to see what it does to my mind, body, and soul. And then I just kept falling short on my word. And I don't want to say that I'm a sex addict. I don't want to, it's like a part of me is like, okay, I feel like there are people out there with like actual sex addict problems, like literally having sex with a new person, every week, every month, every day, whatever, like I was never like that, but I definitely feel like I was like falling into the trap of if the conversation came up, I'd do it. And it definitely like became something that I like identified with. Like I identified myself with whoever I was having sex with at the time. Like my day would go depending on if my day would depict how good or bad it went, depending on if they texted me, if we're hanging out, like it was never anything like official with any of these people ever. There were certain people that I would, I guess, become official with, but it never felt official. I don't know if you know what I mean. And this is a very specific feeling, and I feel like very sensitive souls can understand. But I've been in a very deep, intimate relationship before. And so these past, I would say year, because it hasn't been 2 years. But this past year, I've been in like 2-ish relationships, and neither of them felt official. It's the hardest thing to explain. I feel like because it's kind of started out with a situationship, and then it morphed into a relationship, but it almost felt a little forced in both situations. It felt a little forced for it to become a relationship. And it was almost like I would have rather have them just told me like, hey, listen, not ready to date. Even though we've had sex and like are being cuddly and call each other pet names and everything, like maybe I would have appreciated that instead of like, let's date and then realize I don't want to date you. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of a little all over the place for me. But as someone who used to I still love intercourse. What am I saying? As someone who I would personally say that I don't want to say I was addicted, because I feel like addicted has a negative connotation to the word, but I would definitely say I was obsessed. And I wasn't like always looking for the next person to fuck, or I wasn't always searching for something outside of myself always, like, but I've definitely fallen short. And I've noticed that. And this past situation I had recently, it truly led me down a rabbit hole in my mind and in my body. It led me down a new way of being, and it led me down a new path of introspection. And I really feel like I want to dive into this topic because I feel like celibacy is something that is definitely looked at as something that could be negative. Like if you're not having sex, then you're just kind of like not having fun, not having intimate moments, and in the midst of celibacy, 100% can feel like that. Like 100%. I literally have so many moments where I'm like, damn, I wish I could just cuddle someone right now. Or I see a couple and I'm like, oh, damn, like that must be nice, I do look at those moments and I do think about those kinds of things. And then I think about my past relationships, and then I think about our intimate moments. And I'm just like, why am I just constantly reminiscing on intimate moments I've had with people in the past that no longer are part of my life? First of all, like, why think about them when there's like literally no points not benefiting me in the present or the future at all to think about intimate moments with them. And like, I really do feel that if you're in a season of celibacy, as am I, there's a reason for it. And I feel like your body's definitely communicating something to you, even though like you might be horny, even though you want to, even though you are going on dates and no one is pushing the buttons, like there is a reason for purposeful or non-purposeful celibacy. And I feel like this is a really good time for spiritual development, because whenever you are having sex, you are intermingling with the other person's body and soul. You are literally intertwining all of the little intricacies that have to do with you and what you like, a part of your body, and what they like and part of their body. And you're diving not only into their body and what they like, but you're also diving into their soul and their mind, and you're understanding things about them and looking at them different, because like there's pheromones And there's the emotions, there's the feelings that comes with sex, like everything that comes with sex. It just makes everything so much deeper and so much more intimate once you start actually having sex with that person. So I feel like when there is a season of not much going on, it's a dry season, may I say, I think that it's a good sign to not look at it as like, oh, I'm so lonely, oh, I'm so horny, oh, I'm so bored, like I think this is a really good time for you to really focus on your own energy. And as for me, like I could definitely say that I've been focusing on myself, focusing on my own energy, loving myself more. Like, of course, I have been doing all of the things that people say single people should do. Put yourself out there, like keep being yourself. When you meet new people, just don't alter who you are. Just like keep being yourself, keep loving yourself, blah, blah, blah. Like I can definitely admit that I have been doing all of the single people's advice. I can say, but sips tea. But I can say I do get in moments that I get very confused and upset. And I'm just like, why can't I have that? And I think that's just being human. And I think that it really is just a part of this life to want companionship and to want someone to call our own, or people. Hey, we don't judge here. Want people or a person to call your own, and you want to feel like someone's person, and you want to, like I think it's just a part of being human. We want companionship. And I think that it's also important to remember that when we do notice moments where we are falling into the pit and spiraling, why am I so alone? Why do I feel so lonely? Like those kinds of spirals. I think that it's important to remember the love that we're craving so deeply and the intimacy that we're craving so deeply is not just physical. Truly, at the end of the day, if we are craving a physical intimacy moment, aka horny, masturbation is a thing, but also I feel like it comes with a deeper sense of just wanting intimacy, wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard and felt and embraced spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, of course. But I feel like that it's on a deeper level than just sexually. I think that there's a beautiful romance that is deeper than just the sexual feelings that we are craving. And I think when we decide that we don't need to look outwardly all the time for what we're craving, like if we truly seek love and companionship and intimacy, we can fulfill those desires within other relationships, within platonic relationships, within the relationship with ourselves or the relationship with God. Like there are so many moments where we can like look at those feelings of loneliness and sadness and despair, and we can actually revert those feelings and alter them to be like, you know what, I might be lonely right now, but I'm not alone, and we can, for me, for example, when I feel I'm in a moment of sadness, of feeling alone and just kind of like, what the fuck am I doing here all alone? Like, I have no one to cuddle with to sleep. I think about how I can pour that love back into myself. I think about, okay, if I did have somebody here right now in this very moment, and I'd be telling them I love you, baby, like kissing them, hugging them, holding them, whatever, what could I do in this moment to pour that love back into myself? How can I remind myself I love myself? How can I show myself, what the fuck? Why does it do that? That's kind of cool though. Sorry, you had to be at the video to see what just happened. That was so weird. How can I pour this love back into myself? How can I take this feeling and rewind it? Because if we can rewire our brain to not look at seasons of quote unquote loneliness as negative, and we can look at them as a positive and look at it as this is a season where I get to pour into myself. Like, if you truly think about it, I don't care how old you are when you're listening to this. If you're in a season of feeling lonely, it is not permanent. Okay. I'm telling you that right now. It is not permanent, because there are moments, a plethora of moments, that I have felt so lonely, and I have felt like I have no friends, no partner. All I have is my family, which love that. Okay. But sometimes you crave different sorts of relationships, So in those seasons of boredom and loneliness and XYZ, I've realized that, sorry, we had a little commercial break. If you hear children in the back, they are my brother's children. Anyway, so every time I'm in a season of loneliness and just like lack of intimacy within like romantic relationships, it's always so temporary. Like, it truly is. And like every time I notice that I'm in a season of not much going on, not much new relationships are being added, not much connections are being made, blah, blah, blah. Every single time I'm in those seasons, someone new pops up. Something new happens. A new opportunity to expand myself happens. A new opportunity to explore new people happens. There's always something new that happens within the midst of this season of loneliness. And I think that it's important to look forward to it, but it's also important to keep in mind that searching for it is just as toxic as negatively self-talking yourself and making yourself not feel worthy and making yourself not feel good enough and not putting yourself out there. Putting yourself out there to a point where you're like chasing and seeking and everything just won't attract what you want to attract. But when you're in a vibration of patience and acceptance and stepping into your power, stepping into who you're meant to be, stepping into your authenticity, and you're not afraid to approach people, and you're not afraid to remain silent, maybe remain in your little silent era and just kind of just keep things to yourself and do your own inner work, do your own growth, and just create your art that you love to create. I think that there are so many potent things that can be elevated within your season of loneliness. And I think within a season of celibacy, I've realized that I've gotten into a lot of relationships, not a lot, but I've gotten into sexual relationships with people that, actually, no, that's not true. Okay, let me rephrase. I've noticed myself liking people who aren't available. And there's something wrong with that. Like, I don't necessarily know what it is, but I've noticed myself getting intertwined with people that don't want me fully, don't want to be committed to just me, are already seeing someone else, or just like aren't emotionally available. And I've noticed a lot of those patterns within myself. I noticed that I'm starting to get intertwined with the same kinds of people. I'm starting to want to build like sexual relationships with people that aren't fully available. And not necessarily, I don't want someone to like cheat, or no, that's not the fucking no. But like, I've noticed that a lot of people that I get with want to be with me, but they also want to be with other people. Like, they want to be poly, or they want to be open, or whatever. Or I've gotten intermingled with people that are in a relationship, right? Like, they're in an open relationship and they both want me, And I'm like, okay, but like I hate feeling like a third wheel. Like that doesn't feel good, you know? Like I want to feel treasured and honored and beautiful. Like duh, hello. So there's also that feeling. And then there's also just the feeling of like I never felt good enough for someone, because I was also in a situationship with someone and they asked me to be their girlfriend after like 4 months of like talking and exclusivity, and then they finally asked me to be their girlfriend at a convenient time for them, not a convenient time for the relationship, and it just was not the vibe. And I just feel like I keep getting in these situations where I don't feel like enough for the person. And I'm realizing like, okay, I need a fucking break. First of all, I need to chill on these people. I need to chill on getting intertwined with people. And then I noticed recently I have a crush on someone that is literally in a relationship. Like it's like, okay, Bailey, stop. Like literally stop. Like I don't know what these patterns are, but it's not anything cute. It's not anything attractive. It's not anything that I want to emit out to the world, because when I get with my personal partner, I'm not going to want these bitches having crushes on my man or my girlfriend or whatever. You know, like I don't think that it's something that I want to be labeled attached to. And I just want to be my own individual person. And I want to be with one individual person. I think I've tried to do the open relationship thing. I've tried to do like the polyamorous situation. And granted, I didn't try that hard, but I definitely was intermingled with something that there wasn't enough communication. So I'm not fully throwing polyamory or open relationships or a throuple situation out the window. I'm not doing that fully. But what I am thinking about is the fact that like, I love having one significant partner, and I love having one person that I can just call mine, and they want to call me theirs, and hey, whatever happens in the future happens. But I think monogamy is just like my thing. It's like my favorite thing, and after being in one monogamous relationship, it's just like you want nothing more. At least for me. And I love being able to pour into a person, and I love being someone's romantic everything. I think it just really fulfills my heart and soul with so much, I don't want to say purpose, because I know I have purpose in other areas of life, but purpose within my romantic life. And I feel like if you can build one really good connection with someone, then you can really alter the other relationships within yourself, within your friends, within, you know, if that doesn't last, within other partners as well. Like I think it's just really cool to envision what you can have and curate with one other person. And that's just kind of where my head is at. And I think, you know, I've being with women, you know, a lot of women, not a lot, but a lot of queer and bisexual women just love men in a sense of they like male sex, and like that's totally fine. So do I, you know, but like I could totally see myself with just one other girl, and I could totally see myself with a man. And low key, I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said that Willow Smith said on the table talk thing that she could see herself with a man and a woman. That's like her ideal relationship. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of everything. Kind of everything. I just think I need to learn more about myself before I get into any situation like that. Like I really do feel like I need to just dive more into who I am at heart, instead of what I'm craving, what I'm seeking. Because I feel like there's a sense of avoidance within wanting intimacy that is like multiple. And granted, if you are in a very healthy, very communicative, open, polyamorous relationship, that is so perfect. That is amazing. But I feel like there are a lot of poly and open relationships that say that they are, you know, open and polyamorous, but there's something lying within the relationship, whether it's jealousy, whether it's avoidance, whether it's an anxious attachment or whatever. Like I think there are certain attachment styles that are part of the relationship that are just not healthy and need to be investigated. Like, why do you want to be with multiple people? Why do you feel the need that one person isn't enough? Why do you feel the need to be with multiple people? And if you know why, then that's amazing. But if your why is something along the lines of like, well, I don't like the attention on me, or I just feel like I want to explore all sides of my sexuality, or whatever the case is, like, I just feel like there's something that needs to be explored. Because if you are, say, for example, if I was dating a man, I would constantly be thinking about a woman, and I would constantly be thinking about what a woman could supply me, woman sex, just women in general. Like, I just feel like my desire for women just amps up. When I'm with a woman, it's reversed. I'm thinking about men. I'm constantly thinking about a man. I'm thinking about male sex, and I'm thinking about what a man could provide me, and this, that, and the third. Granted, when I was with a girl, I was very dom, which I am not dom. I mean, I definitely feel like I could, switch it up every now and again, but I'm definitely more of a submissive kind of woman, and I'm definitely a passenger princess vibe, like, that's just who I am. That's what I resonate with. If it changes in the future, it changes, but that's just what I resonate with currently in this very moment. So I feel like when I was with a woman, I was very dom. So I was just thinking about, oh man, like, I wish I had a man, like, driving, paying for the meals, and XYZ. So I think that I really need to figure out necessarily why I crave certain relationships that I don't have within the moment. Like, why do I desire a woman when I'm with a man, and why do I desire a man when I'm with a woman? It's a very weird relationship within myself that I need to figure out, that needs to be investigated. And I think that that's why this season of celibacy is so important for me and so potent, because I feel like I'm finally being able to come to terms with the fact that there are a lot of unhealthy tendencies that I have within relationships that I need to investigate. I have a lot of unhealthy attachment styles that need to be looked through and internalized and interviewed, because clearly there is something going on within me that needs to be looked at. And I think that if you are in a season of not much going on in your romantic life, or you're going on dates and no one's hitting the spot, no one's sparking the spark, and if you feel like you're just in a constant loop of situationship after situationship, I think that there is a reason for that. And I think that there is a reason spiritually why nothing is working out. And granted, there are people that aren't very spiritually in tune, and then they end up with an amazing person, and maybe that person changes them in a way, but not changes them in a way that they receive the love that they needed. Sometimes, like, we receive the love that we need at the most unexpected moments. But I think love happens when you least expect it. And love happens whenever you're not looking for it, you're not seeking it, you're not searching it. Love just appears whenever you are in the midst of loving yourself, and when you are in the midst of curating your most authentic being. And once you have curated your most authentic self, the right people will come into your life, whether they're platonic or romantic. The right people will come in, and the right situations will happen to you. And it does take time. It does take persistence, but it will happen. And you just need to remember that within those moments of loneliness and celibacy, purposeful or not, it is just a season, and it is temporary. And once you do get in a relationship, or you start living with a friend, or you're around friends more often, or whatever the case is, you'll be like, damn, that was nice. That was nice. Like, you'll look back at being alone and be like, damn, that was nice. But in the moment of loneliness and single, you're like, oh, okay, I'm kind of fucking bored, But, like, I swear, you'll look back at these days and be like, wow, now that was fun, And you'll be like, I had so much freedom. I could do whatever I want. I could see whoever I want. I could go wherever I want. I could be alone for a whole week and not care. I could not go on my phone all day and not care. I could literally be a frolicky little bird and everything would be just fine because it's just me. And then one day it's not going to be like that. One day you're going to have a partner that you're going to talk to every single day, sleep with every single night, and that's just how it's going to be. It's going to be your new normal. And then you're going to look back and be like, okay, I'm really grateful for you, babe, but like, I do miss being alone. And of course, in those intimate romantic relationships, you can communicate that. Of course, you could be like, hey, I kind of want to be alone this week or today, whatever. But like, not the only thing, but one of the only things getting me through this season of celibacy and quote unquote loneliness is the fact that I know it won't be forever, and the fact that I know that it'll lead to something beautiful and amazing, and my patience won't go unnoticed by the universe and by God. So I really hope that helps you as well. I hope you guys enjoyed my first video podcast, and thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for tapping in. And yeah, don't take this moment of celibacy as something that should go unnoticed. You know, you are a beautiful, complex, intellectual, deep, lovable human being. And you deserve every single ounce of the romantic love and the sexual relationship that you desire. And you deserve any kind of relationship, any kind of dynamic that you crave, that you wish for. You deserve. There's a reason you feel that way. There's a reason you feel a certain way about how you envision your certain dynamic to be. And if you envision hard enough and you accept nothing but that kind of romantic relationship, it'll happen for you. And it might take time, but it will happen. And your patience does not go unnoticed. It never does. So thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe, and make sure to subscribe to the audio version of this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And rate my podcast 5 stars. Like this video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my first video podcast. I'm obsessed. I'm going to get a new mic because I just know that the audio is kind of fucked up. So I'm so sorry. I'm definitely going to get a new mic so that way we're not having that weird mic noise going on. But yeah, regardless, if you listened all the way to the end, thank you. And don't forget to stay tapped in. Bye, guys.